Good morning. Would like to call the executive committee meeting for Tuesday, November 28th to order. If we can get a roll call, please.
Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Present.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Present.
Mr. Fairfield? Mr. Seroy? Mr. Carrico? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long? Mr. Eckhoff? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler?
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
We have a quorum.
We have no public comment today. See none in the back. Approval of the minutes, October 24th, 2023. Is there a motion, Mr. Carrico? Second, Mr. Eckhoff. I apologize. I have to back up. I need a motion and a second to allow Ms. Parker into the meeting. Mr. Long, Mr. Miller, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. And then we had a motion and a second on the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We get all those down. Sorry about that. Threw it all in a blender there. Sorry. Their legislative is starting to get some traction, so I'll hopefully have something for you next month. I'm starting to get wind of some things, so we'll and by the way, the our lobbyist has asked for a wish list, so I will leave that up to the executive committee if you want to write Santa a list. Santa being the governor, so or who his budget director is. Let's keep it clean. Sorry, no, but it's I would say you send something my direction if you have some ideas on whether it's programming things in the community, infrastructure, anything along those lines, and we can assemble a list here and see if there's a common one that jumps out. You know, so it's talk to your fellow board members, your constituents, and see if there's you get there are no stupid asks. There's just limited money. So we'll see how we can do that. So, Mr. Duval, do you have anything today, Kevin?
If anybody has any questions, we're finishing up this year's projects. It's being the end of the fiscal year. Everything's gone well for us this year. The one update is on the phone RFP. We're still working on that. We should probably have an answer in December sometime. One delay we had is since the RFP went out, there were several other departments that aren't normally part of us that had some questions about it. So I'm meeting with them to make sure I can answer their questions. They could never been part of this project because it's a separate network. But they have some legitimate questions that I want to make sure I answers for them that would help them in case something happens. And maybe I can say, maybe you could look at this and look at that. Mm-hmm. All of those few departments are so small, they wouldn't have required an RFP anyway. There's 8 people here, 10 people.
Does it require us to adjust our FAQs online? Did we? Nothing along those lines? Okay.
No, it had, no.
Okay.
My answer to them is they can't be part of this because they weren't initially that, and we actually would bring complexity to them that they don't need to happen. We would make their job harder than they need to be.
So we can address them in a second round cleanup if it ends up being.
Yeah, honestly, they're so small, shouldn't need it, but that's not my call at that point. I mean,
sure,
they're small.
Right. Okay. Any other questions for Kevin regarding that project or anything else? Well, that was easy. Let's see here. Health Department, Mr. Beavis. We have a monthly update, just a motion to put it on file. Mr. Miller, I'm staring at you. Thank you. Ms. Parker with a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Hey, John.
Good morning. All right, obviously you've got the report that you just submitted. I won't go over that specifically. There's a couple of highlights though that I would just like to say. In regards to at the beginning, I always update you on events that we've either had or some that are upcoming. There's a couple that are upcoming that I found out about recently since I typed up this report. They're both opioid related. Lauren, the new individual that we've hired, is doing great work in getting the program caught up and getting herself up to speed. She's going out and scheduling trainings now, and we're getting a lot of naloxone kits out into the community. So we've got that pretty much back up to speed now from when our previous employee had left in I think it was October. But she's got 2 events coming up. One is December 2nd at the Greater New Hope Baptist Church. That is going to be a training for some individuals and handing out the naloxone kits then after that training. And then another one that is scheduled January 10th. It's been rescheduled. It was scheduled in December, but they've asked to reschedule it to January 10th. That's at the Banyan Heartland. That's in Gilman in Iroquois County. And just as a reminder, if you have a question, and it would be a good one, the opioid grant serves 4 counties within the scope of what the health department does. So Kankakee County is one of those, obviously, we're included, but it also includes Iroquois, which is where this Banyan facility is. It's a addiction treatment facility. And then we also do work up in Grundy and Kendall County. And those are all part of the grant that's written in and have been for a number of years. So, and then just as a note, when the grant first began in 2016 and we started, really rolling in 2017, we were handing out approximately 75 naloxone kits a month on average. Currently, as of today, it could be more, but we're averaging about 1,250 naloxone kits a month. Yeah. So if there are individuals that you talk to, or if you feel like this isn't really an issue, why are we doing so much? Every month we're putting out those naloxone kits into the community. They're getting used, or, we're training individuals that are going to help save a life. So it's a great service to the people of the Kankakee County and these other 3. And then the trainings also go for EMS, police, fire, families, agencies, and businesses. Anybody can contact the health department and we can schedule a training for them. It's a very simple process and very easy. The second item I would like to bring up, I know a lot of us, myself included, I'm not afraid to say, might be done with COVID, but COVID's not done with us. So this morning I was looking up the CDC numbers, and currently Kankakee County in regards to hospitalizations now is high. We were medium last month. So in looking at those wastewater numbers, remember I've told you about they test our wastewater here at the Kankakee treatment plant. The numbers aren't getting higher, but they're not going down either. So since October and into November and so far, maintaining these numbers, and we'll kind of have to see how things go after the holiday season and as we get into the school breaks. But the testing is demonstrating that there's the presence of COVID out there, as well as many other viruses such as flu, RSV, and other viruses that they are checking for. They don't just check for COVID, remember that. So the hospitalizations, what does high mean? Well, that's 20 individuals or more per 100,000 people for our county, for our population, between the 2 hospitals. And that's for COVID, not necessarily the other ones. Now, we are hearing all kinds of individuals coming in, or staff that are sick, or talking about family members that they have that are sick. So we are seeing COVID cases out there still. People are testing. We're hearing about a lot of flus, and when they get tested and those are positive, and there's a lot of this RSV, which is attacking the little kids and then the older adults too. So those things are out there, and we're just making you aware.
John has a question. Mr. Featherling?
Yes, sir.
How many cases of common cold do we have out there?
I have no idea. The common cold is typically not something that specifically gets tested for. Usually if you go to the doctor, and they're going to check for COVID, and sometimes they'll check for the flu, and so then if those are specifically tested for, then those go to a laboratory, and then it will go into the state database, registering as a COVID case or a flu case. Colds are just typically going to be considered a respiratory virus. If they've ruled out COVID or ruled out the flu, then they just tell you you probably have a cold and go home and rest and drink fluids, and unless it gets serious, then you can just rest, or if it gets serious, then go see your doctor or possibly go to the hospital. So they don't really track those numbers.
So, but 20 out of 100,000, that's not really a very high number, is it really?
It can be indicative that the number's going to get worse. Now, is it the numbers that we saw 2 years ago, 3 years ago? No.
Okay, but is it the age groups and different age groups?
I don't know what the age groups of that. It's people who are vulnerable. So there are 20 individuals or more in the hospitals or have presented to the hospitals in regards to COVID.
Okay.
And so that triggers a high. Low, to be considered low transmission in a community, it's less than 10. 10 to 20 is medium. That's where we were last month. And now we're over 20.
Okay.
And so we're just high.
Okay.
And so what that does for us now is we're going to post on our website information that and everybody knows that we've been preaching for the last 3 years, and I should almost do a test here and ask you to tell me what that is. Stay home when you're sick, wear a mask if you can.
Common sense.
Exactly, common sense. Be vaccinated if you're going to get vaccinated, get reboosted if you've been vaccinated. There are medicines out there now that we can take that help. These are things that we did not have in place 3 years ago. So we're in a much better position to just remind people. And so that's what we're doing as we get into the holiday season. We're going to have a lot of people home from school, going on vacations to visit family. You might be bringing this illness with you, or they might be bringing the illness to you. And these are just things that you can do to help make it a more happier holiday season, or Merry Christmas and Happy New Year for yourselves by doing those things.
We'll stay away from the relatives then.
I can't confirm or deny. So that's any other questions, at least on the COVID aspect? I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that. An update on the IRIS program and where we're at with that. The health department and its staff, Kaylee, is doing a great job again there. We've begun the third stage of what will be 4, and those are the community conversations, and that's really that's when we're going to start to get down to the meats and potatoes. So we did our first community conversation a week and a half ago. There are going to be 3 meetings altogether. They're about 2 hours each. And those are with the 20 to 25 agencies that we plan to be that first subgroup that's going to start, that we would be then collecting the data from at the beginning and then going out and getting the rest of the people joining on the backside when we go live in late January or February is still our date. Our second meeting is scheduled for this Thursday at the health department from 2 to 4. We had a lot of great conversation at the first one, and some of the things that we talked about were basically, for a lot of those agencies, giving them an IRIS demonstration so that they kind of knew a little bit about it, but it was getting a little more in depth for them. We talked about why we were doing this within our community, and again, kudos was given to Chairman Wheeler and the county board for bringing this IRIS idea to the county and getting it started through those ARPA grants at the beginning, and then the health department getting on board by being able to say we could do and would be the champion, the community champion to integrate this within the county. We did a thing called partner mapping, and that was where not only within them in the meeting, but we wanted to make sure with the first group that we start, we wanted to try to have a really good overall sense of agencies that were involved, so that we weren't just starting with like one, just all mental health, for example, but we wanted to make sure we had a number of different agencies to try to hit the different components for IRIS as we get started, and then building off that. And then what the implementation is going to be moving forward. This next meeting is going to start getting into, as I said, the nuts and bolts or the bells and whistles of what types of data we're going to want, probably looking at what some other communities have done or typically look for. I'm envisioning, but it doesn't mean it has to be, similar to what Will County's doing in terms of what data they look for. For example, zip codes, by going by zip codes within the community. That will help tell a lot within each particular community, what is lacking or what is not lacking in that. So, and then the third meeting is scheduled for December 14th. So they've been every 2 weeks. when we started. Once those are finished, then Kansas will begin to, finalize, what our computerized program will look like, and then we'll be closer to launching at that point. So with that, I know I have a couple more things after that, but if there's any questions first, I don't want to not let anybody ask those.
Sure. And please, any questions? I did have one. I don't want to say, you said data, and something I think the board was looking for, and the only thing I can do is use an example. For Jasper Jones and KCRO, the data that he would be is I haven't seen that guy again. He is not reoffending. That is in the realm of recidivism. Not seeing them again is a data point. Non-rearrest is a data point. But the mechanisms that they work with outside of jail, they do want to see them, because that's what's keeping them from going into jail. The people that are not recommitting and going in. So I'm wondering. It seems to me whatever these social service agencies, government-related probation, whatever, the data that we would want to use would be what they find relevant. What does success look like at their facility? It shouldn't be just to get more people in so we can get more grant money and just have more people in. It should be success, right?
I believe so. I think, Chairman Wheeler, obviously between, if you're Jasper Jones, for example, and the health department, then if you're referring people to us or us to you, that would probably be rare. However, you will be able to interact and see then that information, but you're not going to be able to see any of the information any of these agencies sent to us in relation to those individuals. We would, as the holder or keeper of the data and the all of that information then that's going to be available, and we can run the reports that show how many people were referred, how many individuals, how many families, how many different times an individual maybe has been referred to different service agencies, because it can be others. But Jasper Jones should be able to have some kind of data that, he might be able to tell whether or not a particular individual, and that will be individualized to that agency then as to what they may be able to see. But we may not be able to specifically glean that out ourselves, because it's going to be more for them. And likewise in the health department, it's just going to be more concerned about, did we get, Susie Jones or Mr. Smith the services that they wanted when they were referred to us.
And I think what we're looking for is you to backfeed that information to us to say, yes, you don't get this detailed information at the county board, nor should we on a specific level, but it's working. This referral system is working because X, Y, and Z have said it's increasing their, whatever their number is. We want to know that even though it's not a whole lot of money, it's a huge impact if we do it right. And I think you're going to do it right.
Yes.
We just want to know, and the public wants to know, that it's working.
Well,
and what does success look like?
Right. And so from a generalized standpoint, we can definitely, whether it's monthly reports or quarterly reports, or even you just call us up and ask us for a particular, your zip code or something for your clients for who you represent, we might be able to give you, okay, in Hopkins Park, we've done this many referrals. And these are the types of referrals that we're going to, kind of a thing. But what we won't be giving you, obviously, and can't, and you wouldn't be asking, I hope, is, well, who did you serve? Was it that person down the block, and those types of things, because we can't do that. But it will hopefully demonstrate any gaps in the community that we have for particular services, and then that's where we can target any potential grant opportunities in the future to or tax referendums or anything in relation to those services to help make it better in our community. Because right now, all we can do is give you a card and say, go down the street to that agency, and we don't know if they ever went or not. But now we're going to be able to at least say, we referred them, they were pulled into the system. If they didn't get the service they wanted, there'll be reasons why they didn't. Maybe the service wasn't available anymore. Maybe they moved away and refused the service. Maybe they determined they didn't want it anymore, or they did get the service.
Maybe they got the job that this was all about, and they don't need the service anymore.
Exactly.
That's success to us.
Correct.
To me.
Correct. but we'll know. They'll be closed out for a reason, good or bad. And if it's bad, we'll know why it was bad. It might not be our reason that it was bad. It could be on them, because obviously, as the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. So we will be able to get the people their referrals, but we may not be able to solve every issue. But now, and they're going to be able to get multiple referrals from a particular visit. So there's a lot of good things coming, and that's what these community things.
Thank you.
The last two things, real quick, is I know there was a comment before the meeting started. We started a radio show. It's called Who Knew? We tape it on Thursdays. We've done 3 of them so far. They play on AM 1320 on Saturday mornings at 10:30. It's just an opportunity to talk about all the different services that the health department has. There's 2 hosts and usually a guest, and it's just a conversation, and it talks about a particular service or program that we have. We give testimonials of clients that we've served and how they felt, that the health department did in relation to that. And it's an opportunity also moving forward that we will be collaborating with a number of community agencies, individuals that run those agencies, how we work together, bringing them in so that when there are community events going on in the spring, in the summer, in the fall, in the winter, we can help promote those with them and then demonstrate how the health department works with them. It might not be something we specifically do that the agency does, but it shows that we work together to promote the public's health in relation to what that agency is doing in addition to ours. As I said, it's been fun to do. It's not as hard as I thought it was going to be when I first heard about it. And it's going to continue at least through June. And if it goes well, it's being supported through a grant, and then we hope to rewrite it into the grant moving forward in for another year after that. But at least it's going for now until June. So that's on Saturdays at 10:30. We do have the goal and are working on eventually getting each of those radio broadcasts put on our website, so that kind of titled, like environmental health, we talked about wells, that type of thing, so that if you miss it, like I missed the one last Saturday, I had company in town, we can, reference you to that website, and you can click on it and listen to it after the fact, kind of like a podcast. So just because it's one and done doesn't mean it's over. It's going to be put on our website, and we're moving forward to that. And then the last thing is, I know Kelly, and thank you so much for putting out, I sent you over some information. The health department and the hospitals are beginning their next phase, our next cycle for the MAP process. That's our I-Plan. That's where we do a community assessment over the course of the next, this next year, to assess the health of the community. And the first part is doing this community survey. So we sent you an email recently that we are asking. There's a link for an English version and a Spanish version. I have a bunch of cards. They're right behind Mr. Hunter. If you could take these, English on one side, Spanish on the other. We know that not everybody has access to computers or their phones to possibly do this, but please take the survey yourselves. Please encourage any of your mailing lists, send this out. That's what this is designed for. Get this information out to as many people as we can. And then Mr. Hunter, through the NAACP and you and the Hispanic organizations, we are working on paper copies and these cards then to get those out into areas where there are barriers to internet or Wi-Fi or those types of things, so that we can get those groups heard from too, because we want this to be an all-encompassing health message, not just localized to a particular village or town. So your help would be greatly appreciated in that. With that, that's all I have, and I'll take questions.
Ms. Weber.
Thank you. Thank you. I have taken the survey, and it does just take 15 minutes, and it's very easy. It's just what you know about yourself. So,
yes.
thank you.
And it's designed for, depending on how you answer the question. So as a woman, it's going to give you a set of questions down this way. As a white male, it's going to send me down this way. It's going to be based on ethnicity and certain components on how you answer it, and it's going to take questions down a certain way for you to answer. And that's why we need everybody's, male, female, older, younger, different ethnicities and the such to help make this a success.
Ms. Foster.
Mr. Vivas, who picks the topics for the radio show?
We have a weekly meeting, which will be following this meeting today. When I leave here, I will be meeting with Lauren and Kaylee, who are the two hosts, and we just discuss. I mean, we have 28 grants and, you know, tons of programs. So we just, sometimes it's depending on maybe the type of season that it is. But the health department
Well,
does.
the reason why I asked, I don't know if anybody heard on another radio station this morning that said that Kankakee was the drunkest city or county in the state, and I think maybe
The drunkest?
Yeah, some web news organization, which probably is not valid, but still, I think we should do something about alcoholism, maybe have a program to talk about that, to refute that kind of information.
We don't specifically have any grants for that, but that can definitely be talked
topic,
about. But
yeah.
I'm not familiar with that. If that just ran today, I'm unaware of
It'll
it.
probably run every hour on the hour with the Valley, but it's out there.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, Mr. Hunter.
Couple things. John, good report.
Thank you.
Excellent report, actually. A lot of good data. Congratulations to the reelection of Antonio Carrico for being your board chairman. I've seen I've seen his impact and you guys working together for the common good, and I appreciate that. Regarding the 25 organizations, does that include every grantee for ARPA funds or not that you referenced?
It will,
It will.
but maybe not specifically right at this moment in time.
I thought that, and maybe Chairman Wheeler can speak to this, I was under the impression that all the grantees were required to participate with IRIS.
Yes.
Okay.
They are. It's the first initial discussions were to get the power users established, because the tree is built from them. I think you'd mentioned before that, I don't know, pod, was that the word? But there was a word you used that described their orbit of other services that are around them. And they want to establish those. More than likely, most of those will be caught up in that. But we will get to them. We didn't put a time limit on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The radio station, 10:30, how long does it go?
Oh, it's a 30-minute
Oh,
program.
just 30 minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Also, could you clarify or just revisit the homeless issue that you and some other folks did a visit, or you traveled to, I don't know, Rockford or wherever, I can't remember where you guys traveled to. Could you give us, just encapsulate a little overview of what it was and the results and what you found out?
I can. Thank you for bringing that up. I guess I thought, since I did that on the 18th of October, that I talked about this last month at this, but maybe I didn't.
I don't,
You might have been saying you were going.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
I heard any specificity at all.
All right. So, well, it's in the report. So, yes, I will reiterate. Thank you. I was part of a number of individuals, Catholic Charities, the mayor of Kankakee. There were a couple of individuals from the city who also attended. Dawn from Fortitude, and a number of other individuals who went up to meet with officials in Rockford. They have a model program in regards to their homelessness issue in that community. Where we are today in our community, they were approximately 9 years ago in regards to their community. And so we spent the day. We visited 2 sites. One was their day shelter or day services facility, and then the other one was their facility that individuals can stay overnight or stay for a period of time. It's a fantastic facility. It can house up to 250 individuals, approximately 125 male, 125 female. But we spent the day having discussions with those individuals. What did they do? How did they do it? What kind of support did they get or not get from their community? A lot of what we're going through in terms of our growing pains here. So what we came away with was, I felt personally a lot of hope that if they could do that and move forward 8 years later, 9 years later, and be where they are, the possibility is there for our community. Now, we're not as large as they are, obviously. Their population is much bigger. But there are some differences that they have. There are similarities that we have with them. They serve a number of counties within that system. We're looking to try to serve Kankakee County, I think, but we have a number of cities and villages that are involved that also experience homelessness, whether they want to admit it or not, within our community. And so that's where we'll have to have individuals working together. But they have some components that are a little bit different in regards to how they're able to ask for grant money and those types of things. But most of what they do is community charity driven. They do receive a little bit of grant money, but most of what they get is volunteer and money through those efforts. So, but again, like I said, it brings hope. I'm part of a homeless task force that came out of that summit meeting earlier this year in relation to that. So that's part of why I went. We don't specifically have programs at the health department for the homeless issue. However, we would probably be serving homeless clients and maybe not even know it. Possibly through IRIS, be able to figure that out as we start to refer people to different agencies. But it's just helping keep the pulse of the community at a position, and then having ideas and suggestions that if we need to talk to a Chairman Wheeler or talk to a mayor of Bradley or Bourbonnais or Kankakee, hey, here's an idea, what do you think? And then seeing if there's the support. That's what the meeting was designed for.
Okay, and finally, what's the relationship, or what happened with Fortitude and Bradley?
I'm not able to speak on that.
Okay, you can't.
I don't know enough about it to speak on it. I know a little bit, and it's not my place.
Okay, thank you. Chris said the building that they had wasn't zoned properly for the use. Okay.
Oh, they didn't want to change his zoning. Yes, Mr. Carrico.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. John, you and I talked about this a little bit. I want to go back to the program that you're doing now, the radio program.
Okay.
I know that we've been talking about this for over a year and a half, doing the Board of Health, that we had to find different ways to let the community know services being offered by additional things that, that can let the community know about services offered by the health department. So I'm glad to see that that's happening now, along with other health maintenance and health, information kind of type of thing. So you mentioned about the guests, and I wanted to, you and I already previously talked about this, but I want for you to go over a little bit more how you're recruiting those guests and what kind of guests are you looking for, and how can they get in contact with the health department in order for them to be part of this?
More than likely right now what we'll do in terms of guests, and since we're just in the infancy of getting this started, is we'll reach out to individuals to ask them if they would like to be part of the show. If they refuse or don't want to, if they're uncomfortable, we don't want to force them, but I would imagine most people will want to help advertise, their agency and what service they do, and then, really it's only a few minutes of time that they would be able to have as your guest speaker, for example, but just the sky's the limit. So I know we used this when we were doing the discussions for IRIS and what agencies would we use, but this health process that we do with the 2 hospitals in the health department, we've got over 50 agencies that we work with or collaborate with. These would be the individuals that we would potentially be reaching out. So it could be individuals from the NAACP in regards to what they're doing. I discussed with you, just to use you as an example, Mr. Carrico, you know, we could have you as a guest speaker to just kind of say, hey, what is your role and what do you do as a county board member, and you're the president of the Board of the Health? How does that work? What does that liaison do between the two? You know, what do you do for the health department in relation to what they do for the community? And just having you then speak on that on behalf of that, because there's not a lot of, you know, advertisement or discussions that I'm aware of where the community would be able to pick up on that and say, oh, I didn't realize that the health department, I thought the health department was served by the county board. A lot of people have that confusion. They'll call Chairman Wheeler up and say, well, what's you need to do this or you need to do that. I'm not elected, and I'm not overseen by the county board. I'm overseen by the Board of Health. And many people in the community don't know that. But working with the hospitals or the village, you know, the mayor of Hopkins Park, the YMCA, just different agencies, things that are going on within the community. If we're having a big car seat program and maybe it's going to be down at the farmer's market, we might be interviewing somebody from there. So each week, as Rosemary was asking, you know, how do we decide? We'll kind of determine, hey, what should the focus be? Because there's going to be a program the next week and the next week and the next week. So, you know, if we can't get it this week, we'll try to get it the next week. And then ultimately going over, you know, many of the different programs. We want to talk to a health inspector. What do you do in a day? One of our nurses, what do you do in a day? One of our CSRs, the people who intake individuals at the front, what are you doing in a day? And again, the example of like a politician that we work with or a local leader that we work with, what do you do? And how is it that we work together with the health department to get that information out?
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other questions? You know, it just occurs to me you may have your guests do like a 10-second drop that just they can, because they got to do PSAs.
Yes.
Just to keep their name out there
yes.
when you're not on, because there's a whole nother 23.5 hours that you're not on. So again, they got to do it for free, so they might as well do drops. Yeah, Mr. Hunter.
Sorry, John, one other question I had. Sometimes I can't even read my hieroglyphics here. Regarding the remote services that Jim Rowe started with all the different entities being out in Pembroke, which saves the residents out there 40 miles of travel, gas, and daycare and whatever. They can get those services out there. You a part of that as well?
Yes, we've reached out to Jim Rowe, and he gave me the name of the staff to deal with. So we've got our foot in the door and have been given permission to be able to utilize that site. We sort of kind of have once and intend to work with, we have an individual with one of the hospitals to set something up in the near future to do another event out there.
Do you find, I'm not trying to put you in a box on this, but you know, if somebody was coming into town and reading the local newspaper, you would think that there's only one hospital, and that's Riverside. You know, I've told some of the employees over at St. Mary's, you know, where I go and have surgeries and whatever, some of which at least, that, you know, decisions are not made locally. You know, they have to get permission to do, seems like everything from, you know, the system somewhere else. Now, they have a new person over St. Mary's now, right? I haven't met him yet, but I've heard he's an African-American man.
Correct.
Have you met him yet?
I have not.
Yeah, okay.
Not specifically, no.
But I would hope and pray that they would market St. Mary's a little bit more. Not that I have a preference, but, you know, Riverside does one hell of a job of marketing their services, but St. Mary's, in my estimation, does not. Every time you read the newspaper almost, you see something about Riverside, new staff, new surgeon, something new, innovative stuff. But I don't see that stuff from St. Mary's. You have an opinion on that? Not necessarily an opinion, but am I off base in saying that?
I believe that Riverside is more of a localized community. I don't know that it's a chain per se. Riverside or St. Mary's obviously is part of a number of hospitals,
network, yeah.
A network, and as a result of that, Riverside may have more flexibility in relation to what and how they spend their money, and St. Mary's may have to go through, steps to get permission to do something and then send it back down to, that local hospital in regards to what they're doing. So that's at best that I can speak on that. Obviously, we have no control over their funds to spend and how they spend it.
Thank you. Excellent report again.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to rename the committee the Health Department Committee? Sorry. Sorry. We got you up here. It's like Columbo. Just one more thing. No, he's.
Well, I want to educate you as best as I can.
Thanks, John.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Sorry.
If anyone would want those cards, they're behind Mr. Hunter. Please take those. I brought a staff. Take 10 to 15 back to your clients, your constituents, and hand them out. And then obviously, it's on our Facebook, it's on our website. The hospitals have released it. The more you send out that email, the more information we'll get for that survey. Thank you.
Thanks, John. And Dan, I was going to do this. I thought, basically Health Department was going to be a minute. Is there a motion to move up the new business election polling place change, to move that up, to take care of that now? Mr. Hildebrand, Mr. Eckhoff, sorry. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Dan, do you want to come up back there? Whatever you want, man. Cue the theme music.
Good morning, everybody. About 2.5 months ago, we received communication from Bradley Central School asking us if we could possibly relocate the polling place from their facility. They have so many events going on that it's problematic for them to continue to serve as a polling place. So we did do some deliberation and investigation in the area, and we were able to find the Bradley Evangelical United Methodist Church, which is on the corner of Broadway and Center Street. We went and examined where they would be voting, and it will absolutely work for us. So we would like to make that change.
Any in-depth questions or a motion to accept that change?
Motion to approve.
Bradley Central to Evangelical United Methodist Church.
Whose district is that?
That's
County Board.
Precinct 16.
It's 21st. Okay, just check it. Usually we defer a lot of times to that board member who's in that area if they have any feedback. So there was a motion to approve. Mr. Featherling, a second. Ms. Parker, was that a second? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions about that? Location's good. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're spending money. Do you need a roll call?
It will be, because we were getting the school for free and we'll be paying $125 an election for rental at the church. Yes, we'll be spending $250 a year.
Thanks. Release the hounds. Sorry.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
We get free prayers as well, too.
Ms. Foster?
Yep. Aye.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Wheeler?
Aye.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Aye.
We have a motion carries.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you.
And we have a quorum.
Okay. Sorry, this thing, it's like a well-oiled machine today. Motion carries. Let's see, Mr. Petkunas, not here today. I do want to mention something. The idea or the need or that connective instrument policy came from us via ARPA. That was our discussions, but it was really Frank who came up with IRIS, the system that fit the bill. So I want to give credit where credit was due. It was Frank Petkunas who said, what you guys are talking about, that's IRIS. And it's very rarely does a concept match what the delivering tool is. So I did want to not say that, we didn't dip into that area. We just knew what we wanted to see and they delivered. So moving on, VAC, Karen is on the Zoom there. Is there a motion on the monthly report to approve? Or to put on file? Sorry, it's because we don't approve it. Dr. Polk and then Ms. Weber with a second. Go ahead, Karen.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I really don't have much to report other than Veterans Day was very big around the area. We had some great ceremonies, the unveiling of the figurine down at the A.N. Weber, and then ours at the Small Memorial Park. We had a great ceremony for our 10-year anniversary with Veterans Treatment Court. We are already 1,000 more people in our office than we were last year at this time, and 1,000 more processed claims and paperwork. So the move has been great, and we've been here over a year now. So I really don't have anything else unless anybody has questions.
Any questions for Karen? Mr. Carrico.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Karen, I have a question here. I think I asked you about this before in the past, but do you have any update on the whole health approach for the VA to incorporate complementary and integrated health in county here?
Not in county. I mean, I know that it's in full force in other areas. We do hope when they get the expansion going over here that it will include that. And you are on my list of people to make sure they get referred to be a part of that. Hopefully we can get that started sooner than later. I know that they are on hold. COVID put all the expansions back a little bit, so I think they're working on Joliet's expansion right now. And then I think this clinic is on the next.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions? What I did see on here, there's you guys are either taking more space or building out in there, is on the report?
We're hoping to.
Yeah.
It's all going to be grant-based, fund-based. I have somebody from Olivet that is going to help me write some grants. So if we can get that all figured out, they are in the process of doing the bids right now. I think they have until December, I want to say 5th. I could have the date wrong, but the Carlisle group is working for us in trying to collect those bids and make sure that we follow the process that we need to spend any money for doing any build out, because we're looking to have more offices and stuff. We can't keep up. We're booking 6 to 8 weeks out for veterans, and it's a lot. So we don't want to be throwing them farther behind than the VA already does if we can get them processed sooner. So.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you. Oh, sorry, Ms. Foster, you had one.
Good morning, Karen. I have a question. Now that we have a centralized location for agencies to come into Pembroke, I'd like to see the Veteran Center come in there and take a date and provide services to our veterans out in Pembroke.
Ms. Foster, you read my mind. We actually have somebody that is working on starting our outreach program. They already do some in other places. They're starting with Herscher, so they're going east to west, north to south. They'll try to find somewhere centrally located out there, so I can work with you or the mayor at some point when we decide that we've got, they need a laptop computer and the printer and all that stuff. So once we have that going, we have hired one individual that will be our outreach specialist, and he will be doing that. So, yep, it's on the works. So hopefully soon.
Thank you.
Yep.
All righty, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
County Administrator report. Is this going to be a combine and approve so you can put the EEO4 on submit, or do you need us to vote to submit? That's just something you have to do. So.
We have to do it. It's already out there. We already
It's
submitted
not
it.
a
and we're,
okay, yeah.
we're
okay.
certified. So.
Okay, good. Can I get a motion in a second on the monthly update? Mr. Alexander Hilbrand, Ms. Weber, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay.
Okay, so in terms of outstanding positions currently that are posted, there are 17, exactly the same ones that were there last month. In talking to John, there may be one that comes off from public health. All of these positions are what I would call, well, I won't say that, are older. They've been posted over 30 days. So they've been there a while, the probation officers, public health. Most of these positions are in departments where Administration's not actively involved, so predominantly public health, 7 of the 10 are public health department positions. So those are that. And then new hire orientation was delayed or deferred this month. It was regularly scheduled after the same day as planning. So like typically the third Wednesday, which would have been the day before Thanksgiving. It is going to happen tomorrow. And we will have 15 new employees there. In a month where you saw no change in postings, that's unusual. However, all but one of the new employees are from corrections or public defender. One is public defender, schools, health. So it's not somebody I'm typically involved with, so that's why. I think corrections, of those 7 new corrections officers and 3 corrections medical. So, and a VAC, a schools, and 2 public health. So we didn't have an October new employee orientation. We had 11 in September, and so we have 15 so far reserved for tomorrow. So that's busy. All of them are benefits eligible in the new year. So we'll be rolling out our new benefits and new materials that relate to 2024 in tomorrow's orientation. Speaking of which, new employee or open enrollment begins on Friday, December 1st. That lasts for 15 days. Again, it is a remote. So it we have a video that is done and edited, all new materials. The software's updated. I've got a couple things yet to check, but I would say we're probably 95% ready for that to roll out on Friday morning and go live. So we're really there and ready. Materials have gone out to retirees that are currently enrolled. That open enrollment is a little bit shorter. It's only 10 days, so that we have to have any updates to prices, etc., costs to IMRF earlier. So we typically shorten that one up. So I think we're ready to go. Better be. And then secondly is the EEO4 report. That is a biennial report. So every other year that is submitted. I've got that report into you. The classifications for what sections, that's all defined by the Department of Labor in what we have to, what departments go with what report. So it's a little bit unusual. Corrections is called out separately, and corrections by definition must include probation. So probation is included in corrections, but not with police. Police is police, 911, and the coroner's office. Other, if you look at the last one, other is just schools. So if there are any questions, that has been submitted. There is a deadline of December the 3rd that's been submitted and received and certified. So we're all finished with that.
Mr. Hunter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I noticed the categories have been expanded, and maybe I'm dating myself because I remember formerly there was only 8 categories, and now there are 15. Can you speak to when this was changed by labor, and also comparing this report to the previous report, any glaring or outstanding changes at all?
No glaring changes. We continue to do better in terms of our diversity. If you look at where we're at, according to the census, Kankakee County is 82% white, which includes Hispanic. And we are, in terms of our employment, we're at 82.9% for overall. It's not by I didn't break it down. I just took totals. So black is 15.2% per the census. We're at 12.7%, but interestingly enough, 2 or more races is 2.4% per the census, and we're at 3.4, so we're a little higher. So we're close. We do a little bit better. Not dramatically, I would say, no dramatic changes, but we are moving towards close to what our census numbers are
Would
at.
the most activity be in corrections or not?
Interestingly enough, in terms of the diversity numbers, general is where we have the largest number of, well, if you look at general, white is 73% and black 22%.
Okay.
4% in that category, 4% 2 or more races.
Thank you. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Is it, you say every other year?
Yes.
Every other year, okay. That's what I
Yes.
thought. Okay. Any other questions, anything in general? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Next item is the administrative appointments. We had the appointment of Martin Kirchner to the Essex Township Fire Protection District. Is there a motion on that? Mr. Hess? Second, Mr. Long. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll talk about that afterwards. I want to make sure, because I know that they had some changes out there. There was a gentleman who passed. That was their gentleman who passed, and then this was the recommendation. Sorry, I was off for a week, so I want to make sure this all shook out the way it was. Here's some openings. McGilvery Special Drainage District, Caber Area Fire Protection District, BM Lewis Drainage District, Moments Pembroke Union Drainage District number 1. One opening on the Kankakee County Public Building Commission, and one opening on the Union Drainage District number 2. So we'll go to new and old business. Anything for the committee? Otherwise, then there be a motion. Mr. Hess, Mr. Carrico, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.